Kitty. My name is Erin. It is Saturday, which means it's time for my weekly roundup. Yeah. So what's my weekly roundup? Basically, we talk about my week in crafting. We talk about my WIPs, works in progress, and FOs, finished objects. We also talk about the book I'm reading. So, let's dive right in. No, it's right there. Okay. Sorry, I have a new project. I had to make sure I knew where it was. Okay. Also, I'm wearing hard pants. I had to take Chomps to his tennis lesson today, so I had to put on pants. I guess I could have worn like my leggings or whatever, but I don't know. There's something about being seen by other adults you might see again. It makes me think maybe I shouldn't wear leggings. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so let's hop in. Get out of Erin's weirdness. No, you're here. This is Erin's weirdness. What have I done? I feel like I have more than one finished object, but I only have one sitting in front of me. So let me check my list real quick and see. Sorry, I saw something I had to delete. No, I do. I only have the one. Okay. Let's do this. I have had 2 headband, belt, bracelet. You can make many things with it, but patterns from Unique Stitch Designs on my want to make list for a very long time. And I actually made one. So this is for my daughter Bingo. I've tested it. It does fit her head nicely. It actually fits mine too. So here you go. This is that same sparkle yarn that I used on her little heart necklace. And it barely looks like I've touched that spool. So here we go. It turned out super pretty. So she used cotton. This is a blend with cotton acrylic and sparkle, of course. And she used a much smaller hook than the yarn recommended. I used the smallest hook that the yarn recommended, but I think it would have turned out a little tighter and maybe a little better for a headband, like more sturdy, I think is the word I'm looking for, had I used a smaller hook for the yarn. But that's okay. I used a 4mm hook on this. No, I used a 3.5mm hook on this. Probably, if I were to do it again, with this same yarn, I think I would use a 3, if not 2.5. I believe she used a 2.5 in her tutorial. But there we go. It is beautiful. I love it. She thinks it's wonderful as well. And that's all that matters, right? Okay, let's go into the project off to the side that I thought I had forgotten. This, you might recall last week, I got distracted by my pickle jar. Yep. I did start the next pickle jar project. So, if you buy the pickle jar kit from Tangled Poets, which is Aberdeen Wools, it comes with 2 patterns now. You get the original cowl and then a bias scarf. In my first pickle jar, I made the cowl, and I've been wearing it quite a bit this winter. I quite like it. But I wanted to buy a refill and do the bias scarf. So here we go. I have started the bias scarf. So what this basically is you do the pattern, and when you get to the end, you just throw on another one and keep going. So again, it's going to be, I did not plan it out. I'm just going to use it as the jar of fate once again. Reach my hand in, whatever mini skein comes next is going to go in. I do have a couple of the purple lamb sample minis that she sent thrown in the bottom of the jar. I'm not going to add those to this project, I don't think. But this is the start. I am It's hard to tell. I'm probably about halfway done with the first itty bitty mini. These are micro minis, so they're 5 gram minis with roughly 23 yards per. I think that's what the measurement is. I did do a little bit of work on Bingo's C2C Rave blanket. Not a ton, but here's what it's looking like. I think it looks so pretty. I kind of wish I had just a bunch of these two to put together. But no, we're going to fade out of it. So it's going to go, I've got the unicorn. This is icy blue or something. And then we're going to go on to the cyan. Is it cyan crush, the blue pink? And then we're going to do the pink orange. And then we're going to end on orange. So it's kind of a rave sampler. I really like it. So normally with a 4-weight yarn, I would use a 5.5 millimeter hook. This yarn recommends a 4.5 millimeter hook, and that's what I'm using. That's what I used on my last one, and frankly, everything I've crocheted with Rave, and I think it makes a really good fabric. So that's my 2 cents. Rave is, let me pull out one of the full cakes here. This is the pink blue I was talking about. Yes, it's Cyan Crush. So I'm talking about Big Twist Rave. I bought a bunch of Rave when it first came out, made a lot of projects with it, and then I used all of my extras to make a scrappy kind of baby blanket. My daughter Bingo fell in love with it, but the whole time I was making that, I told her I would be donating it. She doesn't know this blanket is for her. They're playing in Chomps' room, so I don't think she can hear. But yeah, that's the plan for that. My next project, I have been making a shawl collar cardigan from a bod pattern for my husband Brian using Red Heart Comfort yarn. I've been working on the sleeve. This is the sleeve up to the point where I start doing decreases. I have not yet watched the tutorial to see how she does the decreases. So that's kind of next up on my agenda. One of my goals for 2025 is to work on my whips. So I've got I've got Yarn Management Monday. That's dealing with my yarn collection. Tackle It on Tuesday. That's where we pull or we look at a project that was deep into my whip, untouched for a while. We pull one of those out, talk about it, start working with it. And then of my active projects, I have been setting 3 priority projects. And that's kind of the ones that get most of my attention during the week. But I still touch everything. I try to touch it once a day. Definitely at least a couple times a week to get some progress going. That's my priority 3 project. No? Yes, that's my priority 3 project. So it doesn't get as much love as 2 other projects, but I do try to focus on it. I make sure I do at least a certain amount of work on it each day. It's generally 4 rows because it's a 4-row repeat. So I make sure I get at least one pattern repeat in. But like I said, I gotta watch the video to figure out what happens next there. Let's go ahead and do my priority. Where's my priority 2 project? Oh, here it is. It is a sweater I'm making for myself. It is Joji Locatelli's Spectre sweater. And I am using my 2023 Advent calendar from Ginger Snap Yarns. We're going to start talking about Advent soon. Pre-orders have begun. I saw Ginger Snap had a pre-order. So far she has not announced a fade. She has one that I think will kind of be fadey, but not a fade. And then I think she's doing a gnome one again. She had a couple of options. Hugh Loco announced her Advent for 2025. I ordered Hugh Loco. It is, it's going to be a fade. It's called the Starlight Fade. and it's based on like stars and outer space. I thought that would be super fun. I've never bought Hue Loco yarn before, so this is going to be a real adventure. And yeah, I thought it would be a good. I thought long and hard because I've bought a couple of times from Canadian companies, and I have a real affinity for some Canadian hand dyers, but I'm going to be honest, this tariff situation, these are large orders, and with the tariffs, if they come into play, I don't know what's going on, but when they ship it, you could be looking at an extra 25%. And if you're looking at spending over $250 on something, that's 25%'s another good chunk of change to add on to it. And I love my Canadian friends, my Canadian dyers, but maybe this is the point of tariffs, to force you to buy American made. I don't know. I feel bad because I have so loved the Ginger Snap Advents, but I did Hue Loco this year. If Dragon Horde Yarn has not announced hers yet, she did announce a Christmas in July Advent. Yes, I did that. But for last year, she did a 12-day Advent based on the Empyrean series. So I did that. So I had 2 Advents last year. One 12 Days of Christmas, one full Advent for the month. So I did Ginger Snap Gnome for the holidays last year, and she called it the Gauntlet. The Christmas in July Advent is 4th Wing based. I do not remember what she named it. I believe the pre-order is closed. She was doing a limited release there. But anyway, so Hue Loco has a fade. A chick that knits. She's a US-based dyer in Omaha, I believe, Nebraska. She announced her Advent, and she has... No, Ginger Snap has the initial discount right now. If you order Ginger Snap early, you can get a 10% discount. Chick That Knits announced hers. I sent her an email asking if it was going to be a fade. She has not, as of 1 o'clock today here, not gotten back to me, but it's the weekend. I wouldn't expect her to do work days on work days. Don't mess with emails on the weekends. But yeah, I'll keep you guys in the loop if she does it. I've bought her yarn. It's gorgeous. It is, she does stunning work. This is one of her kits that I bought. So this is a bunch of minis. So this is probably what you could expect from an Advent, but I have a bag of her full skeins here too. Gorgeousness. Look at that. Some of her solids and a multi. Very pretty. There's a tweed in there, so the one with the speckles is the tweed. So pretty. Yeah. How did we get on Advents? Oh, because I'm using Advent yarn on here. Squirrel! Squirrel! I have added... Let's put this here. I've added my new ball of yarn on, and I'm starting on the sleeves to keep the color fade going. And I've done one sleeve, and I'm working on the other. This is a mess of needles right now. So this is the sleeve that I've done. You can see it's kind of transitioned to a new color. But it fades so nicely. It's a little hard to tell where one stops and ends, which is pretty cool. And I've done a little bit on this sleeve. I think I have either 2 or 4 rows left. I'm doing 10 rows on each sleeve, and then the rest of it goes into the body. And then I do that again when I get the new mini out. These are 20-gram minis, fingering weight, about 90 yards per mini. Okay, what else am I doing? That's my priority 2. For some reason, when I start talking lately, my sinuses really start to run. I apologize. My priority 1 project is more a yarn than a project. I bought the Hirschner's Neon Lights line of yarn to make blankets for my kiddos. I did it. I had a lot of yarn left over, so I've just been making color block blankets to use the rest of that yarn. I am down to 4 colors left. So I did start my next color, which is Proton Purple, and which means I finished the coral. Started with that, moved to the coral, and here's the purple. My goal for this one is to finish the blanket. I have one more. I'm going to do one more pattern, which is a 2-row. It's pattern repeat. So I'm going to do 2 more rows and then start the border. So there you go. It's hard to show a blanket kind of all in one. This is a Creative Grandma pattern. She uses Premier Frosty. Nope, I used it. I don't have it on my shelf anymore. I used to have some. But the Premier Frosty sweet roll cakes. Very pretty. It's a shell and V-stitch pattern. I don't know if I linked it last week. I hope I did. Anyway, I'll try to have it linked in the comment or in the description box so you can see. So hopefully, one thing I have found with this Neon Lights yarn, it is very staticky. That's my one annoyance. Otherwise, it's beautiful. This is my priority 1, so good chance we will be on the home stretch next week with a new blanket in the works. I have kind of decided, since I just have the 3 colors left, I am going to, I'm sorry, I broke my nail. I'm trying to fix it. I am going to just kind of make the next blanket until I run out of yarn. So on the next blanket, maybe expect a black border to be added, because that's one of the hard things. Like, I don't know necessarily how long the yarn is going to go when I'm doing these kind of scrappy blankets. What else do I have? Okay, let's talk Amigurumi. 2024 was my year of Amigurumi. I was working out of this book, Crochet Cute Critters by Sarah Zimmerman, who is Repeat Crafter Me on the YouTubes. I pick 2, the kids duke it out, and then they tell me what they want for their thing. I am working on Max the Monkey. That's Sarah's version. What did Chomps envision? Of course, it's a red and orange. And he has arms now. So I did finish the arms. So what's left? Ears and tail? I think so. Ears and tail. Probably what, you know, Erin, read the pattern. Don't try to do it from memory. Yep, ears and tail. 99% sure I'll have that finished next week. The tail is 28 rows, but I mean, you don't even stuff it. It's so thin you don't stuff it. And then the ear, you make an outer ear, an inner ear, and then sew them together. The outer ear is 9 rounds and the inner ear is 3 rounds. That's not going to be much work at all. So hopefully that will be done next week as well. I'm going to put you back in. Oh no! See, the problem is I don't have a project bag for some of these, because the Neon Lights blanket and this one both sit in boxes when I'm working on them, because that's where the yarn is. I have the box that they shipped, the advent calendar. I just put all the yarn back in it. And then for the Neon Lights yarn, I literally have the shipping box that they shipped me all the yarn in, sitting in my bedroom, which is why I want to get rid of it, and that's my priority 1. Now, what else do I have? I have 3 more projects to share with you. I did some good progress on Little Miss Bingo's purple dress. I finished that never-ending little ball of yarn, and I am on another. I'm using Premier Fruits sock yarn, colorway Plum. This is a Grow With Me, so slightly oversized dress situation, and I'm using a stretchy sock yarn on needles that are just a touch too big. So the idea is you're making a garment that as she grows will grow with her. So here we are. I've got that, and her skirt. The yarn is starting to kind of color pool, which I think is kind of cool looking, if you can see there. But I've just tied on a new one, and then on the back side, you have kind of the dark and the really light. They're pooling. I've just tied on the new yarn, so expect that to shift a little bit. But I think it's pretty cute. She's excited for it. And yeah, I really believe, based on how far this yarn, the first little ball went onto the skirt, I think the project's going to be over when I finish this yarn. But we'll see. We'll see. I have that one and then 2 more 50-gram balls to go. No pattern. It's all just made up in my head. So I'm going with the flow. My next project... Now, you might recall last week I said, oh, this might take me about 3 weeks to do. No, it didn't. Of course it didn't. I'm not done, but it didn't take me anywhere near 3 weeks. I have yarn going on both sides because when I do the sleeves, I try to keep them so I don't mess up. That's the back. Oh, I've just really twisted the yarn. Okay, you're looking at the back side. Who cares? It's basically the same. Here we go. I finished the body, did the bottom ribbing, started the sleeves. So this sleeve stopped here because this I'm just doing constant decreasing. So I'm just counting the number of rows. I have a stitch marker here so I know how many rows. I have 2 more rounds to do here. And then I'm going to do the cuff on this arm. So then just finish this arm and do the collar to kind of cinch that up a bit. And he'll have a sweater. So there we go. This is from my son Chomps. He picked it. It is red. Oh, I didn't bring the yarn label. But it's Red Heart Gemstone in the colorway Jewel. My final project I have for this week is this was a Tackle It project, and now it's been promoted to the main stage of the weekly roundup. It is my Stephen West 2022 Twists and Turns MCAL. There you go. And I am on clue 3. I am still trudging away on the never-ending little tricky. I don't know why. It's so slow to grow. But I am nearing. Yeah, I'm about at the halfway point. So we'll probably be on this for a couple more weeks. But here we go. This is the right side. Okay, so I did have catastrophe. I accidentally grabbed it to work on it and yanked the needle out. It was a moment, but we're back. We're good. So you're doing the shawl here, and then we're putting this little thing on it. I don't know. It's a trust the process moment. It's a little kind of chevron cable. That's my yarn needle. And that's my cable needle falling out of the work. But there you go. I'm still trucking along. I'm using Blackbird Sycamore hand-dyed yarn that I bought off of Etsy. I think last week I went through all the colors. But like I said, I bought this for cast on in 2022. So who knows if they're even making these colors anymore. Okay, shove that in there. What else? That's my last project. Yes. Oh, I didn't put this away. Like, why do I have yarn there? Because you didn't put it away, weirdo. Okay. What else do I have? My book. Okay. So here's the end of my crafty goodness. Oh, yesterday, my Southern Skeins subscription yarn arrived. Hooray! I obviously haven't opened it yet. So if you were just here for the yarny crafty goodness, that is all I have for today. I would love to know what you're working on, what you're excited about. Are you planning your advents already? Or are you like, hey, this is March. This is too early, lady. I understand. This is the first year I'm doing the July Advent. Oh, I need to email Ellie. Somebody remind me. Email Ellie. She's doing St. Patrick's Day stitch markers. I need to do that. And I would like to once again do a Halloween advent, but I haven't seen any of those posted quite yet. And like I said, I've already pre-ordered my Christmas one, so my December one. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I've never had Hue Loco yarn before, but she is very popular with the fancy knitters, so I'm excited to get my hands on it. Book I'm reading. I am reading The Way of Kings, the first volume in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I have hit the halfway point roughly. I'm excited. I have one more. So this book is broken into parts, and then between each part there's an interlude that has kind of a couple of chapters by a heretofore unknown character. So this one, I have one more interlude chapter, and then I will be getting part 3. I have seen somebody comment that they have just finished this book and they enjoyed it, but they thought it really picked up and got exciting after chapter 31. I am nearly to chapter 31, so I am extra excited now. It's giving me hope. So why did I pick up this book? I am easily swayed. No, I enjoy Brandon Sanderson. I watch him on Instagram and he does YouTube videos. He seems to be a very prolific, engaging, generous author. And he seems to be really great with his fans, which I love. And I had read his Mistborn trilogy, but that's all I had read. I had heard about Stormlight Archive, but it was daunting. And then I saw an interview with Henry Cavill, and the person was like, okay, and what are you like reading? What would you suggest for someone looking to get into fantasy? And he just rattled off all of it. And one of his top picks was the Stormlight Archive, Brandon Sanderson. So I was like, well, if it's good enough for Henry Cavill, it's good enough for me. So I got it. There was at the time, the first 3 books, the 4th book has since been released. But there was like a 3-pack with the first 3 books. So I just nabbed that. It was on super sale. I thought, why not? I am liking it. I enjoy the world building that Brandon Sanderson does. The criticism I've heard is that it's wordy and kind of plotty, like plotting, like it's like ugh, trudging, kind of hard to get through maybe. I can see it. This book is definitely slow to start. But I think it's got a really cool magic system. You're in a war, so that's always exciting. There's been an assassination. What? Yeah, I like it. I'm trying to... I don't know what to tell you that won't give away plot. But it's definitely a... so there was an assassination, there's a new king, there's a vengeance pact, thus leading to the war. So there's like two warring civilizations, but I think there are more civilizations on the continent than what's going on here. So, maybe I'll just read the back to you. Here. I long for the days before the last desolation, before the heralds abandoned us and the night's radiant turned against us, when there was still magic in Roshar and honor in the hearts of men. In the end, Not war but victory proved the greater test. Did our foes see that the harder they fought, the fiercer our resistance? Fire and hammer forge a sword. Time and neglect rusted away. So we won the world, yet lost it. Now there are 4 whom we watch. The surgeon, forced to forsake healing and fight in the most brutal war of our time. The assassin, who weeps as he kills. The liar, who wears her scholar's mantle over a thief's heart. And the prince, whose eyes open to the ancient past as his thirst for battle wanes. One of them may redeem us. One of them will destroy us. I mean, that's cool, right? That's like, whoa. But I'm going to be honest. I thought, I've seen a couple spoilers. The prince whose eyes open to the ancient past as his thirst for battle wanes. I thought that was a different character. I've just now realized which character that is. So, that's cool. Speak the hallowed oath. Speak again the hallowed oaths. Life before death. Strength before weakness. Journey before destination. The knights radiant must stand again. Dun dun dun! So yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's cool. It's definitely not Fourth Wing. You know my love for the dragons. You know my love for Fourth Wing. But there's no dragons here. There be no dragons. There are apparently giant crabs that they battle who have gems inside them. Which is weird. Like a giant lobster. I've gone off target. Find the thread again, Aaron. Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's good. It's definitely high fantasy. There's no romance to speak of right now. There's kind of some younger... One of the characters is kind of the uncle of the king, and he has sons the king's... it sounds like they're about the king's age, maybe a little younger. His brother was the former king who was assassinated, so now he's kind of, declared that he will protect his nephew on the throne. But anyway, one of his sons is always courting, but it seems to be a very... I want to say stoic, but that's not the right word. A very rigid kind of courting, like they go for walks, and it's more like, yes, I'm interested in you, let's go walk and give gifts and promenade around, that kind of thing. But, and he seems to be jumping from girl to girl. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. But that's about the most romance you're going to find in the books, at least so far. And like I said, I read Mistborn. There was a romantic storyline in there in that some of the characters fell in love, got married, but there was no open door scenes of any sort. Like, they danced, and that's kind of about it. They shared tents at times, but went to bed. Scene ends, move on. So that's about... Yeah, it's not in the romantasy genre at all, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, given what I have read in the past. I can understand how someone might think there was something like that in there. Okay, I am gonna go. I will talk to you later. I might see you... I need to make a video. The Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight, again, there's a new month. I am well aware that I am very behind on prior months. But we push forward. I owe you videos, and I am well aware of that. But I don't know if I will get to that video today. I'll foreshadow for reasons that will become clear later. And so yeah, I might see you again, probably not, but I will try to put the post up in the Facebook group at the very least, so if you were working ahead and you wanted to do it, go right ahead. I suppose, I'm looking it up, thinking, I could tell you what the next two were. So February we're doing Wow Crochet Designs. In March we're doing Rich Textures Crochet. And then I'll just slip it in here, but like I said, I'll do a full video explaining everything. We are finally doing Nastasia in April. So, all of you who have been asking for her, yes, I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, but there you go. Yeah, so that video will come out with all of the details, but if you kind of are in the know and like to do the spotlight each month, go at it. There's your information. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Love to you all.